Recording. Okay, guys, so we are officially recording a super fun opportunity that we have tonight to hear from my friend Dave. We met through Facebook, and I sort of did this post back in, I think it was January or February, that I would like to work with a life coach. And I had all these people commenting, tagging their friends who were life coaches, and Dave was the only one that just reached out to me and was so kind and loving and open, and just really connected with him. And so we've had several calls, some one-on-one calls, some group calls, and he's just an amazing guy. And I wanted him to come on and just share with you guys. I shared with him some of the things that we struggle with in our business, and so he's going to address some of those things. And then this is an interactive opportunity for you guys. So Dave is really great at doing like spot coaching. So I expect you guys, like I told you in the group last week when I announced this, that you got to bring your energy, bring your questions. We want you guys to engage. Don't miss out on this opportunity. So I know that a lot of times in situations like this, some shyness, some insecurity can kick in, fear of I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to ask a stupid question. I don't have anything to add. But I want you to put that aside right now. Just kind of take it out of your head, toss it aside. Be different right now. Choose to be courageous. Choose to seize the moment and embrace it. Ask your question that you're afraid to ask. Bring up the issue that you're afraid to bring up, because those things that we try to kind of tuck away and hide, in my experience, are the things we need to get out in the open and work through. And so Dave is just, he's been amazing at that for me. Jessica has worked with him as well. And he's just an amazing soul, such an intuitive guy. And I know he's going to bring some value to you guys tonight. So give me a thumbs up if you're on board for being fearless and engaging and awesome. Great. So Dave, I'm going to unmute you. And I would love for you to just kind of share with everybody a little bit about kind of who you are and what you do. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but just kind of how you came to this place of what you do and how you're doing it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miranda, for the amazingly warm welcome. And I think I see Jessica was there. Jessica, we've talked, but I was just saying, like, oh, I finally get to see what Miranda looks like. And as soon as you step back into your screen, I'll get to see what you look like. So a little bit about me. I've been coaching lives and businesses so I'm a life coach and a business coach, and people say, how can you be a business coach and a life coach? Well, business is life. Life is business. If you're doing business, it's a part of your life. So I'm trained in a methodology that's called ontology. So I'm an ontological life coach, and what that means is that I work with the way people are being, not so much what they're doing. And I'll get back to that here in a few minutes, being versus doing. But I've been coaching for almost 7 years now. It's my only job. It's my life's passion. I'll be doing it forever. I live in Southern California. I live in a town called Encinitas, which is in North San Diego County. I'm pretty much the two things that I'm passionate about are coaching lives and surfing. These are the two things I love more than anything in the entire universe. You can see I got two of my boards back there. And I've created, in 2010, I was working a corporate job. I was selling software, and I was kind of climbing the corporate ladder. And I just got, one day I looked around, I was 35 years old or 36 years old, and I looked around and I said, this is not all there is. I do not want to work. I do not want to wake up at 6:15 in the morning anymore. I don't want to be on the train by 7. I don't want to be in the office by 8. And then I don't want my boss, whose name was Pete and was 7 years younger than me, following up on me about this deal or that deal. And it just occurred to me that I was not into it and never would be. So I made a really powerful decision, and upon I'd been promoted to senior executive, blah, 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 of blah, blah, blah territory. And I really started to ask myself some questions about what the meaning of life was. And I came to the very firm conclusion that being in an office 40 plus hours a week and selling software was not where the meaning of life lied. So I quit. I submitted a letter of resignation in a moment of inspiration, and that was it. I walked away and never looked back. I started coaching. I found coaching about 9 months later, and went through a really intensive coach training program, and I was part of that company for 4 years. It was called Accomplishment Coaching. So I love what I do. I will do it forever. And the concept that we work with as coaches, and I'm sure all of you can resonate with this, is life by design. So what we do is we create our lives versus react to our lives. Does that make sense? And the thing I want to presence as coaches, so does anybody have anything that they want to check in regarding that, or any other questions for me?
I just want to say yes to that. These people on this call, I know all of them, most of them really, really well. And that's something that I think resonates with everybody, to be able to shift into creating your life, creating your business, rather than just reacting, is what we're all after. So yes,
okay.
To that. Yeah.
So can we all align that we are here to create our lives? Okay. So here's where it gets really interesting and fun and fascinating, because you ever go on, you ever on Facebook or social media and you see like a Tony Robbins kind of thing come through your news feed, or some successful person come through your news feed, and it says, get my newsletter and I will give you the 5 tips to be successful. And you download the 5 tips or the free newsletter or whatever, and it gives you a list of things to do. And if you were to do those things, great, you're going to be successful. But there's a rub with that. There's a catch. Does anybody know what the catch is?
I don't want to steal the show, but
No, we're good. We're good. I'm actually embracing it right now in this moment, so we'll get to it.
I think we can do things differently, but if we don't learn how to be differently, how to think differently, it's not really going to create what we want. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Miranda. And so, Miranda, I actually want to acknowledge you for being a leader. So does everybody get that about Miranda, that she's a natural born leader? Right? Any questions about that at all? There's no question regarding the nature of Miranda's leadership. I picked up on that about her within about 30 seconds of speaking. And now that I'm actually seeing what she looks like, I can actually see her entire being. Right? So it's not so much these things that you do. It's the way that you're going to be. Now, becoming a successful life coach, and I'm not like the most successful life coach in the universe or anything like that, but I've been supporting myself on, 10 to 15 hours a week of work for the last 6 years. And that's pretty awesome for me, because it gives me the freedom to wake up every morning and go surfing and do whatever it is I want to do, and have kind of lazy afternoons when I feel like it, and kind of hang out and take road trips and whatnot. But the road to success was not easy, because it's very difficult to become successful as a coach. Does that resonate with anyone? Anything anyone wants to share on that?
Yeah, if you guys have quiet background, wherever you are, unmute yourself and respond and talk. This is interactive. If you've got lots of noise going on, you can stay muted, but if you're quiet, holla.
So this is where it gets fun, because one of the catchphrases that I use is that the road to success is paved with awkwardness. So
I love that.
It's, if you sign up for Beachbody, they give you the formula. It's call up your friends, tell them what you're up to, send out emails, market yourself on Facebook, X, Y, and Z. And if you just do these simple things, you will get this result. And they told us the same thing when I started coaching. They said, just call your friends and tell them what you're up to and invite them into conversations with you. And a certain percentage of those people that you talk to will pay you to help you transform their lives. And it was real easy. And there were certain people who became coaches when I did, who just said, okay, great. And they called contacts that they knew in corporate America, and some of them were CEOs, and they called their friends who were CEOs, and the CEO friends said, great, I'd love to work with you. And then there were people like me who kind of hadn't really figured ourselves out, and it just didn't go off as smoothly as I wanted to at first. And I got stuck in what I refer to as the pressure cooker. And the pressure cooker is that sort of zone where you can't go backwards, because you've made a decision to live life in a different way for you. But getting to the place where you want to be, it seemed a lot simpler when they explained it to you. And the gap in between, like that door that you shut behind you, and where you want to be is what I refer to as the pressure cooker of transformation. And many times when we go to live our lives for ourselves, we find ourselves inside that pressure cooker. And that's why I say that the road to success is paved with awkwardness, because it is not, it's the fear of the feelings that arise when you reach out to someone and they look at you, you know, like this, like, why would I want to coach? Why would I want to do this Beachbody thing? Why are you talking to me? Is this a scam? X, Y, and Z. That results in a person experiencing something that is very unpleasant. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with anyone? So it's who you choose to be in the face of that awkwardness that will determine where it is that you're going to go. Does that make sense? So I'd like to turn it over to you and maybe provide some coaching. Does anybody have any questions about that, or does anyone have any stories that they would like to share?
I can speak to that while you guys get ready to unmute yourself and speak up and participate. Go ahead and get your nerve up. I face that all the time, Dave, the pressure cooker concept. I've been with Beachbody for 6 years now, and I had a lot of personal growth to do, a lot of healing to do, a lot of getting over some issues in myself and my life before I could get to the point where I was of any use to anyone else. And the Beachbody culture is very much like what you do, Dave. It's relationships, it's connecting. They even tell us, corporate tells us, don't sell. Don't hard sell anybody. Connect, find out what their issues are. If you have a solution, connect them to a solution. And you have to have a certain level of confidence and trust in who you are before you can do that. So it would be really easy for me to say, well, I've been in this business for 6 years. I should be further along than I am. But everybody's on a different growth pattern, different growth journey. And so, yeah, that pressure cooker thing from you've made this commitment, you turned your back on that old life and you're in it. You know, we use the phrase, I bleed Beachbody blue, like we're here for the long haul, but yet you're not quite where you want to be. And so that really resonates with me.
Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to put in?
Yeah, you guys just kind of wave and unmute yourself.
I can add to that.
Go, Alyssa.
So I met Miranda and a lot of these ladies when we went to Summit in July, and I've only been coaching for almost a year and a half, and I know the possibilities, and like you said, opening that door and seeing that there's this whole other way of living. You don't have to be stuck in a 9-to-5, and I was just like on fire for it. And then when we got to Summit, I've been having this, I call it pushing the marshmallow up the hill moment, where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get my rank here, trying to get my income on this side, trying to like balance all of this and recruit and talk to people. And I get to Summit and I'm like, all of these other people are being successful at this. I'm like, I know it's there. I know I can do it, but it's just like that pressure cooker stuck in the hard spot.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you mind if I work with you for a minute?
Sure.
So why Beachbody? What are you doing this for?
I started because I was 2 months postpartum with my son, and I saw someone post about the opportunity that I trusted, that I used to work with at an old job. And I was like, I need to get my health in order. I want to be able to help support my family because my husband works so hard. I want to help bring in an income, but I want to stay home with my baby.
Yeah. So you're after the freedom that it afforded you?
Yes.
And where are you currently as opposed to where you'd like to be?
Rank wise or just anything?
Rank wise or just anything. We could actually veer this off to wherever you'd like. It's totally up to you.
We can go either way. I'm literally 2 coaches from Diamond, but with that being said, a lot of my coaches that I do have are discount coaches, so they're not actually invested in working the business. And I feel like one coach on this side is an account that I've built. So it's not even like my other leg is people that are working. Income wise, it's not from volume. It's all retailing. It's all sales. And it's like some days I'll get, you know, a $200+ paycheck, and then the next week it's $0. It's never consistent, and it's kind of disheartening because I know what's possible, but it's just kind of like waiting to find my people.
Yeah. And where are you in regards to like the number of people that you reach out to that you said you would?
Inviting and recruiting, it's it's different every day. Like some days I will get nothing done because I have a cranky toddler and I'm drained and exhausted at the end of the day, and I feel like I don't have that good mindset to talk to anyone, let alone like take care of myself. And then some days I'll send like 30+ invites, so it's different every day.
Yeah, got it. So I want to presence the concept of commitment. So one of the things that I like to use with my clients is that circumstances, if you look at the word circumstance, you see the root word of it is circle. And one of the concepts that I like to presence with the people that I work with is that circumstances will make us go in circles. So the thing about circumstances that I presence with people is that they're completely and totally 100% valid. So your toddler actually is cranky. Miranda actually does have 5 children. All of us have very busy lives. And if we choose from circumstances, what happens?
We don't get anything done because it's an excuse.
It's an excuse.
It's like a dog chasing his tail, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, circumstances make you go in circles. And by the way, I'm going to get your guys' contact information. I'll shoot you out an email with the basic bullet points. I don't really script these things. I'm without a net, so I'm jotting down notes as I'm talking if you didn't notice.
Love it.
So speaking of the road to success being paved with awkwardness, I could feel no more awkward than I do right now. So thank you for allowing me to be a model of success. So like I said, circumstances make you go in circles. And what very often happens is that people, when the circumstances arise, they forget what they're committed to. And when you forget what you're committed to, you fall back, you choose some circumstances, and you run in circles all over again. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
So the challenge for people is choosing from your commitment. Now, I get that you guys have business goals and you have targets that you want to hit and you have people you want to enroll and you have product that you want to sell. But it's not the only reason that you guys are doing what you do. Does somebody else want to share what it is, why it is that they're doing Beachbody? Jessica. There you are.
I will. Excuse my braids.
No, you look super
good to see you finally, Jessica.
If I wear my hair like this tonight, it'll be pretty tomorrow. So, anyway, my son's being quiet now. But when I initially started Beachbody, oh my gosh, it's been almost 4 years ago. About 4 years ago this month. I did it because my husband at the time started working out, and he told me he didn't. I looked at him with a cigarette and a beer in my hand, and I looked at him and
nice.
I was like, "Why are you working out?" And he told me because he didn't want to die. And I was like, "Well, crap, I don't want to die either."
Right.
And I didn't want to do what he was doing because he was like treading water in the swimming pool. And so I contacted Miranda, my cousin, and she hooked me up with T25, and 3.5 months into that, I quit smoking and all of that. And I worked the business for about 3 months just because I lost about 40 pounds, and after having hip surgery and all kinds of major health issues, like totally healed my body. And I worked the business for about 3 months just because I knew how good it made me feel. And then I got pregnant, was put on bed rest, and had all this stuff going on at my corporate job where I was a bank manager. And I just kind of stopped working the business. But after I had my son, my son is special needs, for those of you that don't know. He has a super rare genetic mutation, but that didn't have anything to do with it, and it still doesn't. But I'm trying to put it into words. Like, I know, like, with passion, that it's not just about the Shakeology or the Energize or the Recover or, you know, the Beachbody on Demand, but it's about what being in a challenge group and being surrounded by other like-minded people and being able to connect with women and moms. And I mean, like, you guys know, I mean, we have success pods and, you know, messages and stuff like that. Like Katie and Kelly, I messaged all the other day about, you know, the natural calm. I mean, it's about being connected and having a place to belong. And that's what I feel it is that we are trying to sell. I mean, I don't like to use the word sell, but share with other people. And it's really hard for me to get that across to people because I've been in it for so long. And so my struggle is not in sending out, you know, invites or getting, you know, asking people to join me, but it's getting a response from those people. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but my why in doing all of this is I was so lost for so long, trying to find a place to belong with eating issues. Oh my gosh, like everything you name it, I had it. And, you know, finding a place to belong, being able to connect and, you know, actually being able to heal yourself. Because I would have never known any of this was possible if one person would not have been persistent. And she didn't keep reaching out to me. I just kept seeing her happy post on Facebook. But, but, you know, now I know that it's possible to create an income. And now my circumstances, as Dave was saying, you know, earlier, have changed. And I need the income to be able to provide the therapy and the doctor visits and all of the things that my son is going to need forever. And it's a lot of money. And I know that it's possible, and it frustrates me because I see all these people being super successful, and I'm like, I mean, there's days where I'll invite 75 people, you know, or 80 people, and I get like nothing back. But, you know, I believe in this, and I know it's possible, so I'm just going to shut up now.
Thank you for sharing, Jessica. Love you. Love you. Oh, Dave, you're muted. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Okay, now
oh, there we go.
muted. Yeah, you're good.
Thank
now.
you.
Sure.
Jessica, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you again. I've acknowledged you before, but thanks again for all that you put into the game of life. You're a phenomenal human being. And it's actually good to see your being, your aura. And the reason that what I heard in all that is that Beachbody has actually, the why, it's all about love, belonging, acceptance. So coming in, can you distinguish, do you mind if I work with you for a second? Okay, I always want to ask permission. Can you distinguish the difference between that way of being, love, belonging, vulnerability, trust, healing, and that sort of unconditional commitment that you have? What's the difference between, what's in the way of you sharing that with your prospects?
Well, I don't know if I understand what you're completely asking, but like, to me, like, there's no other way. Like,
right.
This has like totally changed my life. I mean, it's what allowed me to have my son and get pregnant and, you know, all of those things and get over my health issues. So I guess I don't understand.
Well, it's almost as if it's a beautiful love story that you have to share, that the wacky, that what we refer to as your survival mechanism, which is like a whole other concept I'm not going to go into. But your wackiness is getting in the way. And by the way, we all have wackiness. It's not just yours. Believe me, I got plenty of it. Your wackiness is getting in the way of you expressing that beautiful love that is coming from your heart and enrolling people from that place. Does that make sense? Are you sure?
Well, no, I guess I mean I know I'm wacky, I'm crazy. I've said that before.
Yeah.
But I guess no, I guess I don't know what it is that's coming across that way.
It's are you totally disempowered by my use of the word wacky? I've been on a coach with call with a bunch of coaches, and we throw that word around all over the place. Okay, cool. There's an awkwardness that you're not embracing that is getting in the way of you sharing authentically from your heart that beautiful story that you just shared with all of us. And that's an assertion. I'm not positive. But does that make sense or no?
Sorry, I keep muting myself because my kids
You're
are being
fine.
loud.
You're
But
good.
I guess I would like for them to chime in. I mean, they're the ones that read my posts.
Who's got something else?
They know me.
I'll share.
Who's got something for Jessica?
I'll say something. I think Jessica, that you are always trying so hard to get it right that you're not being true to yourself. I think you try so incredibly hard to do all the checklist of things that we do as coaches, and I think sometimes you forget to step back and just, what am I feeling? What is my truth? And you get so focused, hyper focused on, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is how I'm supposed to do it, that you're not really listening to your spirit and responding to what your truth is in that moment.
I'll continue with what she was saying because
What happened?
There we go.
Froze. Did I freeze?
It's froze.
Oh, what? I was just talking on like crazy. What's the last thing I said?
You were onto something. Just start at the beginning.
Okay.
Actually, please.
I think that Jessica wants so badly to be perfect and check everything off the list.
Yes.
I've done this. I'm doing everything right. Why is nothing happening? That sometimes you forget to step back and go, what do I feel? What is true for me right now? What am I struggling with? And to put the checklist aside and quit worrying about trying to get everything right. And the way I see that play out is that sometimes you message me at night and you're like, I have no idea what to post. It's 8:30. I'm supposed to post. I don't know what to post.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then don't post. If you're not feeling it right now, then don't do it. And so that's what I see is that.
Yeah, and you're dead. I'm going to agree. And that's when I refer to your wackiness shows up as perfectionism. I just wasn't sure as to what your flavor of it is.
It runs in the family.
What's that?
It runs in the family.
And so, got it. And so back to you, Jessica. Consider that your perfectionism is the thing that's in the way of you sharing so beautifully and authentically the way that you just did with all of us. Does it make sense now?
Yes. Sorry if y'all can hear that. Yes.
No, you're good. Are you sure that makes sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I don't believe now in a perfect person, because perfectionism is what you believe it to be, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody individually has their own idea of what perfect looks like. Mm-hmm. But I try my best to do what Miranda has told us to do to be successful. And that, I guess that's why I struggle sometimes with it. It's not that I'm scared to share about my struggles and whatever. I mean, I do up to a certain extent, when it comes to my husband, because that's a whole nother issue. But I do my best to share all of that.
And my assertion is that one of the access points to enrolling more people is, this is just a suggestion, would be to make a video and share as authentically as you just did with all of us and the way that you do regularly with your tribe, with the people who you love, and see what happens. And I'm not sure, but do you see where I'm looking?
Yes.
Any questions about that? And is there anyone who, anyone else who'd like to share?
I just wanted to add something. I think when it comes to communicating the part about like the tribe and like what it is. I feel like people, especially on Instagram, when you're getting to know them, that's where I try to do most of my like new connections. There's so many people out there doing the same thing that we are that I feel like people almost feel harassed. And that's probably just like me in my own mind going into that message saying, they probably already gotten a message today, but it's like, and I know it's my mindset, but I think that's something that holds me back from inviting sooner, I guess, because I don't want them to feel like, oh, they only messaged me because they want me to buy something.
I want to pull something out of what you said, Alyssa. You said I think you said there's so many people out there doing what we do. And I want to disagree with that lovingly, because there's a lot of people out there pushing products and selling products. There's nobody else out there being Alyssa the way that you're Alyssa. And that's what you're inviting people to, is to experience life with you and work on their health goals and their life goals with you. And there is not a single other person on the entire planet doing that, because they're not you. So that's just stupid fear.
Yeah.
That's fear in the way. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of like, it's almost like what you just brought up. It's kind of like circumstance's cousin. It's not exactly a circumstance, but it's like some weird kind of emotional landscape that's not friendly, that you don't like to be with. And it's that awkwardness. And what happens when the awkwardness shows up, you forget about the thing that you're committed to. And when I ask why Beachbody, it's not about selling product necessarily. It's about the life that you have. Is that clear?
Yes.
And I've actually heard it been said that my coach told me that the average MLM person, in order to become a million, he told me that it's one of the top 5 ways to become a millionaire currently in the United States is through MLM work. He said you have to talk to between 10 and 15,000 people to achieve that. So you guys have any idea where you might be?
Nowhere close.
Nowhere close. Okay.
Not that high.
So now we've got, now I'm just going to.
Under 1,000.
Under 1,000. Okay,
Yeah.
Great. So this is where integrity comes into play. And integrity is very simply when you're in, and I'll send this to you guys in an email. But integrity is just when your intentions, your words, and your actions are all lined up, and it's access to results. It's access to power. So intentions plus words plus actions equals power. So in other words, when you do what you say you're going to do, you're more likely to get the result than when you don't. And that it actually is a how-to. That is a doing piece versus a being piece, although you are being in integrity. Any questions about that? Tamara, where are you at? How you doing?
Me?
Yep.
Okay, so I've been a coach for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I am definitely nowhere near where I'd like to be. But that is my own fault. I own that for sure. I joined first, my story, my why has kind of progressed, I guess, in those 5 years. But I originally joined because I needed, to lose weight, like pretty much most people. I had 2 boys at that point, and it, within a month, my life was pretty much transformed with just how I was feeling and losing weight when I hadn't been able to before. Anyway, so then throughout this time, I've had 2 other boys, so I have 4 boys. Mm-hmm. And Beachbody has allowed me to lose that weight 2 more times. But it hasn't just been a weight loss journey for me. It's been a mental and a spiritual transformation. And It's been pretty much a catalyst for so much more than just a physical transformation. But So I originally started for the weight loss, and I have really wanted to just be able to stay at home. And I stayed at home for a year and kind of got us into financial issues. Wasn't really working my business at that point. So I had to go back to work in September. And
doing what?
I'm a nurse.
Okay.
So 3 12-hour shifts each week with 4 boys is not the best. But I kind of felt like it was what I needed to do at that point until the last, I want to say 2 or 3 months. And my boys have made me cry multiple times because they've asked me, are you working tomorrow? And if I have to tell them yes, they're very disappointed. And they say, but Mom, we want you home. We want you home. And I had to work on my son's 6th birthday, and he didn't understand. He's like, Mom, it's my birthday. Why are you at work? And I am determined. I'm determined to make this work this time, and to do the work and to actually be committed.
Got it. So here's the rub about a commitment. If you can get out of it, it's not a commitment. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's a woman by the name of Edwene Gaines has that line. If you can get out of it, it's not a commitment.
Right.
And what we will very often do is we'll let our fear kind of prevent us from committing. Now, what you shared was very similar to what Jessica shared. There's this deep love. This company, this product, this experience, this tribe, these people you are part of and you are in community with helped you to transform physically, mentally, spiritually, forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you were a caterpillar and now you're a butterfly and you can't go back to being a caterpillar.
Right.
On one level. Right. And so now the challenge, right? And then my assertion is that you are not sharing that this is a mental, physical, and spiritually transformational experience with people. You're coming from that fear place, right? And people pick up on that. Is that clear?
Yes.
You sure?
Okay. Well, so I feel like I share that, but I don't know that I share it correctly, or I wouldn't say correctly, but I don't get the words across that I'm really feeling. Right.
And I understand that. And that's why I want to re-presence the concept that I brought up at the beginning of the call, which is that the road to success is paved with awkwardness.
Right.
And if you go out and be awkward enough and share vulnerably enough, eventually you will become something different. Is that clear?
Yes.
And so I want to come back to the original, like for me, the beginning of coaching was like pitching friends. You know what I mean? Like having sort of conversations that came off very tacky with people, like trying to sign my brother up for coaching. You don't life coach your own brother. That's totally, you just don't do that. But doing it anyway and not listening to my mentors and all kinds of wacky ass, excuse my language, shit, right? There was all kinds of wacky ass things I was doing, and embracing the awkwardness of it eventually led to me getting some results and signing some people up and making a little bit of money. And that was how I came to believe in myself. I wasn't doing confidence exercises in the morning or looking at myself in the mirror and, you know, doing this in order to build confidence. I went out and was totally not confident, totally awkward, totally foolish in some cases, until I got the result that basically trumped the story that I had about myself, or the story that I needed to gain confidence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And 7 years ago, there's no way I could have hopped on a call with all you people and all your thoughts and whatever's you have about me and to have been with it all. There's no way. And this is just the next level for me, is getting 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10 people on a Zoom call and just showing up and doing my thing. And so I'm incredibly nervous right now, right? I'm actually terrified, but I'm embracing that awkwardness. And this is a little story that I'll be able to share with people down the road. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
I want to throw in a couple of things right here. 2 things.
Please.
First of all, Dave, I was listening to Brendan Burchard yesterday morning talking about taking risks. And he just said that every day he asks himself, how can I make my job harder? And he told a story. He was our keynote speaker at our annual summit in New Orleans. And he told the story about how he made his job harder when he spoke for that event by trying to do this really complex P90X move on stage in a suit. And he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And so he talks about that experience on his podcast. And so you jumping on the Zoom call with us tonight is you making your job harder, but that's the only way to grow. Yes. And so I wanted to share just a really quick story with you guys. And I did upgrade my Zoom account just now, so we now have unlimited time. We're no longer going to get cut off. So when I was in the beginning stages of building this team, there was no team here. So we used to use the old-fashioned conference call way of doing team calls. And I would spend days creating my outline, writing out my notes, collecting quotes, creating metaphors. I'm a writer, so it was all lined out. It was passion-filled. It was amazing content. And I would get on these conference calls to do a team call for my little tiny baby team. And when you use conference calling, in case you guys don't know, you can't see or hear or know who's on. You have no idea, really, if anyone's on. And the system I used back then, you had no way of knowing. So the only way I would know who was on was after the call ended. And I would go online to the website and I would look and it would tell me how many people attended the call. So I would pour my heart and soul into these team calls. Here I was, a little baby diamond coach, barely hanging onto diamonds, had a team of maybe 12 people. And I would go look after I would deliver these amazing speeches. And no one had been on. No one had been on. And I used to go, oh man, but I knew I had recorded it and it could be useful later. And I can't tell you how many team calls I did where there were no people on, or there were maybe one or two. But what happened was, it wasn't so much about what was happening in that moment. I was learning how to speak, how to put my thoughts together to lead a team. And so now I can jump on a call with you guys and not have any notes, and we could talk for an hour and a half about amazing things that we could do together. And I can just, speak to you guys and lead from the heart because I practiced it back then. And so what Dave is telling you, Tamara, is about embracing the awkwardness. It doesn't take very long of practicing what makes you feel awkward before it's not awkward anymore. And it prepares you in such an amazing way to be able to do things later with ease that were once really difficult.
And what I hear you saying, Miranda, is that you gave amazing speeches that nobody showed up for, but that they were amazing nonetheless.
They were so awesome. You have no idea.
Right. I'm sure that they were.
Hey, no one was there to tell me otherwise. So.
Right. Absolutely. What do you guys take from Miranda's share? Someone I haven't heard from.
Show up, do the work, even if you're not getting recognition for it.
Exactly.
There we go. And what would that look like for you, Katie?
My biggest thing is showing up consistently, like every day. I have a newborn and a 2-year-old, and my husband works like 16 hours a day, and we just moved 2,000 miles away from all of our family. So it's me all day long. And so it's kind of like we were talking about with Alyssa, circumstantial, like if you let your circumstances. Right. So I don't know. I think that's what's been holding me back, because I'm in this new mom phase where I'm like not really sleeping, and then I have a toddler, so you have to like get up during the day and be like alive. And so when it comes down to time to message, I'm just so freaking tired that I'm like, I can't put out, there's no positive vibes coming from me that I want to send through any kind of message, because I'm like bone tired. Yeah. And just, but I've gotten better at forcing myself to do something that's going to like I do live videos before I get on and message people. Doesn't matter. Like yesterday I talked about how the cable guy made fun of me because there's a switch that controls our cable that I didn't know that wasn't on, and I had him come out and look at it. Just things like that are like trying to get me out of my own head a little bit before I sit down to talk to people. And I've always had a struggle sending like just random messages, like just inviting people. Like people know what I do. I have people that stop me in the grocery store, even in North Dakota, that know what I do, and know who I am, which is just amazing.
And what do you do with those people when they stop you in the grocery store? What happens?
I hug them and we have an awkward conversation, and it's just fun. They just get to know me. And the one thing that I hear so much is that I am the same person online as I am in real life. And I love that. I think I just, in that transition period between being a newborn mom and a toddler mom, it's the finding the schedule, because I'm very anxious about a lot of things. And so having the schedule of when I do things is what's really throwing me off, because I may get up for like 3 days in a row at 5 a.m. and knock it out first thing in the morning, and life is great and my whole day flows like that. And then the next week, neither one of them are sleeping through the night. So 5 o'clock rolls around and I'm like, I just went to sleep, and it throws my whole mindset off. That's where I'm stuck right now. And I don't give myself enough grace to say, it's okay. Sleep till 8 o'clock, get up, have your morning with your kids, and then go about your day. Instead, I wake up anxious and like panicked. If that makes sense. I'm stuck. Yeah.
No, go. Is there something else you want to add there?
No, it's like that's what controls how I work during the day and how many messages and the kind of connections I have. And I'm tired of that. I have the potential to do so many things. And like, I never had the issue with having people, like I've always had a team because I just thought that's what I was supposed to do. I've never had that setback. It's just letting circumstantial things control the way that I work.
So what would be possible for you if you started choosing from commitment versus circumstances?
Oh gosh. Like, I know this sounds cocky, but I'm one of those people that know from a very long time ago, I was meant to lead people, and I was meant to, like, I've always known that. And it's what I'm passionate about, but more than that, it's what I do regardless whether I'm coaching or not. What's wrong? Water. Okay. Hold on. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense. I want to reflect something on the team in general. You guys get that you're pretty hard on yourselves in general. Like, you don't get the result, so therefore you're a fill in the blank.
Yeah, every one of these people that's on here right now, they are my cream of the crop people. Incredibly hard on themselves, very high standards, very high achieving in various capacities in their lives. Ton of education going on here. We have a veterinarian that's on. She's being quiet, but she owns her own vet clinic. Lots of high achievers here. So yeah, very hard on themselves.
A call full of leadership.
Can I add just to what Katie was saying about feeling the expectation? I feel that too, because like I feel like I have to post at a certain time in the morning, and then I have to post here, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I'm the same way that Katie does. And that if something happens, it like throws everything out of whack, and I feel not that I'm like a failure, but I feel like the people are anticipating me to give them something, if that makes sense.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Who just shared that?
That was me.
And what was your intention in sharing that?
Because I think if you post every single day at the exact same time, and it works for some people, Tracy Corbin, it works really well for her. But for me, if I post at the exact same time every single day, people stop wanting to pay attention. I'm a person who loves change. I love things that keep me on my toes. I love spontaneity. I just want to jump up and do something if I feel like doing it. And so my followers want that from me. They don't want me to post every night at 8:30. I do. I post all the time. I'm consistent. But it doesn't mean I have to post every day at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 8:30 p.m.
Well, I think what we're kind of getting at is everybody's got their own way of being authentically themselves. True. And the key to success in an industry like this is to be 100% authentically yourself, you. There's no other person than you. And Jessica, there's a vulnerability that is, it's infectious, it's enrolling, right? And you have circumstances that are very, 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 very valid. And the question I pose to you is, do you want to choose from something different and bigger, or do you want to choose from your circumstances? And you want to answer that? Mm.
Hey,
Bigger.
this is Rick. Can I jump in for
Thanks
a second?
for saying that. Yeah, just 1 second, Rick. Jessica, you okay? Okay, just checking. Yeah, Rick, what you got, man?
Yeah, I'm a baby coach. I just signed up maybe a month ago, I think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I appreciate about our group is the vulnerability of it.
Yeah.
That's there. I follow many of like I follow Jessica's page and Katie's page and Miranda. And I think that's one of the things that we resonate with is that, it's not perfect. We work, the kids, and, I'm very much struggling now with the time management of stuff. So, I really appreciate everyone's vulnerability in there, and haven't gotten brave enough with some of it yet. But that's what makes it real for most people and easy to connect with. As a new coach, I find this a little reassuring, from very experienced coaches here, sharing the struggles, because I'm very desperately trying to find the time management. And I'm also a nurse, but I work informatics. So my work week is about 50 hours a week, plus commute times, plus I teach CPR, plus helping getting the kids where they need to go, and, the household chores and everything. So, for me, it's very much of a struggle trying to wrap my head around everything, as well as, trying to grow the business for myself. So, I really appreciate and am so grateful for everyone sharing their vulnerabilities and sharing their frustrations and their issues with everybody.
And thanks for sharing that, Rick. And yeah, thanks for your contribution. And I want to presence another concept that we've stepped over, and that is one of spirituality. So does anybody take offense to me using the word God? Just checking. We live in some interesting times. Where's God in all this?
We're very much God people, so yes.
Awesome. We've got a beautiful, vulnerable, authentic, loving, spiritual, inspired by God team. Where does God fit into all of this?
To me, that's one thing I love about this team, is the fact that it is so centered around Christ. But as far as where he fits in, I think he's all up in it. Because it's about showing that love and giving that love to people. But my biggest problem, I guess, and this is, I know you asked that question, but it's getting people to see that to love themselves is so hard to get people to do that, if that makes sense.
Especially if we're not loving ourselves, right?
Yeah, correct.
And
I guess one of my issues sometimes is, I want to show that, I know where I came from. I've made it. If I could get everything down like I have the fitness side of this, it would be amazing. I know where I've come from. And for me, the biggest, one of the issues I have is coming across of people thinking that I'm just bragging about me. I want them to know that you can be strong as a 40-year-old woman, and how I got into this is I didn't have a coach reach out to me. I started Beachbody on my own just because I didn't want to die, because my mom died at 41 and I was going down the same path that she was. And so I guess it's hard for me to a point to not understand why people don't, like I said, I didn't have a coach reach out to me. I did it on my own for like 4 years, and I asked to join this team, so it's not like nobody pursued me. So I guess that I have a hard time knowing how to connect with other people, getting them to see how I want them to understand how you need to take care of yourself. And it's like, kind of like, I don't know if it was Alyssa or Katie or whatever who shared that. No, it was Tamara, I think, that said, I want people to see my heart, but I don't know how to get the words out. to get them to see that, you know what I'm saying? Just the words to say to get it out.
Yeah, I think we lost Dave, so I'm just going to jump in. I don't know. I'm sure he'll pop back on here in a second. In fact, let me grab my phone and see if he texted me. Hold on.
April, I think if you could share, like how you just shared, like what he said to Jessica, how you were like sharing your real why and why you started. Like, I didn't know that you did this for 4 years before you found the rest of them.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I think that's pretty, like, I would share more about how you made that transition and why, and then why this group of people is so magnetic, like, and important to what your story is.
Right. That's good.
Because if you stuck with this for 4 years on your own before you joined a team, like, that's some serious gumption. That's incredible. That's incredible. And to see the things you've done with it so far, just like your women's ministry with fitness, like, you're putting it out there. The right people are going to see your heart through what you're saying. Even if you don't have the right words, sometimes it doesn't matter how you phrase it. People are going to see it the way they want to see it. And I think, like, I love looking for your posts, yours and Jessica's both, because it's so heartfelt and you can feel the passion that comes through that. But I know who you are and I know what you're about and what you're trying to achieve. Some people just aren't interested in anybody else but themselves, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, being a guy, my wife will affirm this. It's a little harder for us to get, you know, it's on the inside out. And I probably talked to Kelly, who's my coach, I don't know, for 3 weeks before I finally put my first post out there, you know, to really share my journey. And it was, you know, probably a point for me where it was, you know, getting my heart out there for, you know, for what it was. And then just to see all the love that came back through from it, you know, was fantastic and overwhelming almost a little bit. I had people reach out that, you know, I hadn't for a long time. And for us fellas, you know, it's a little harder to, you know, to kind of get what's on the inside out.
Right.
I want to, sorry we lost you for a second, Dave. We just kind of have been running with it. Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Okay, now you're good.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can now.
Yeah, my phone died and I had to run to my car to get my iPhone.
I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, and it's just more of the awkwardness because Zoom wouldn't download onto my computer. So, okay, I use my phone, and then Zoom sucks up the battery life of your phone way more. And all of a sudden, I'm watching my battery, and then blackness, and then I can't find the cord. Anyway, so I'm running, thinking someday this will be a really funny story I tell to an up-and-coming.
Listen, you have no idea how many technology issues we've had in trying to figure all of this out through the years. There have been so many times when I was the one who couldn't figure it out. Everybody else was on waiting for me. And yeah, so you're in good company, I assure you, for sure.
Awesome.
I'm just going to kind of respond a little bit to what you shared, April. You know, Dave asked us to take this to a spiritual place, and we are a very faith-based group of people. And so I just want to kind of maybe shift this a little bit. And so you're not the only one. Several of us that have shared tonight have talked about worrying about what other people are thinking, or trying to get other people to understand, or trying to get other people to respond, or trying to get, you know, coaches on our team that are discount coaches to become business builders. And one thing that I have realized in my 6-year journey, and you guys, you know, we have achieved some success as a team. We've been an elite team. We're in the top 2% of the entire company, and there are over 450,000 of us. So we are doing something right. And I just want to share with you guys that we can never control what other people think, do, or feel, ever. It's not our job. It's none of our business what they think, do, or feel. That's on them. And all of you guys in various capacities on this call tonight have shared that you feel like what's holding you back is you have something stuck inside you, and you're trying to get it out and help other people understand what it is, and they're not responding, or they're not answering your messages, or you're not feeling, because you're drained from being a mom, you're not feeling like you have the energy to put into it. You guys are all overthinking big time. Step back and do you. You know the phrase, do you, boo, right? Just be yourself. And whatever you put out there into the world is beautiful, because God made you to be beautiful and good and sacred and precious. And you're enough as you are. And what other people do or don't do in response to what you're putting out there is their choice. So you keep sharing. You know, just like picture me doing those calls when no one was on. I was speaking for the team I wanted to have, and now you guys are here. If I could have handpicked people, I wouldn't have even known to pick people as amazing as you are. And so when you're out there posting, don't post for the people that are responding. Post for the people that you want to respond. Have in mind the team that you want to build, the people that you want to surround yourself with, and you post for them. And when you have that in mind, they're going to come to you, because you're laying it all out there. And when you have faith, because that's what faith is, right? Believing in the unseen. That's where God does his best work. And he's working from the other side, but our job is to get over ourselves and quit being dominated by fear. How many times does the Bible say fear not? Over 365 times. There's one for every day of the year. When we push past the fear and we get over ourselves and quit thinking that we're lacking something and that that's why no one's responding, those are Satan's lies, right? So God can't work in that. You're putting yourself in a box and chaining yourself to something, and you're trapped, and you're the only one that can break free from that. So do it for the Lord. Do it for the calling that he's put on you. Do it in response to the blessings you've received. Post, message, share for the people you wish you had, and they'll come. Okay, I'm done.
Thanks for that, Miranda.
Sure.
Yeah, guys, and it's bigger than you. It's bigger than, for me, coaching is bigger than me. I actually relate to myself not as a coach, but a person who has been sent here to the planet by God to awaken people to their purpose. That's how I relate to myself. And when I relate to myself as that, it makes me a very significant piece of something 1,000,000,000 times bigger than me, but a piece I need to be responsible for nonetheless. And what that looked like was, how many times have I harassed you, Miranda, and sent you text messages and Facebook messaged you and emailed you and called you?
You have never harassed me. You have reminded me that my life is worth working on.
How many times?
Probably 20, 50?
20, I would say probably a solid 20 times. And here we are, and I met you in January.
Yep.
So 8 months later, something has come to fruition, right? And all I did was align with purpose and follow up with, and this is where it just gets really practical. There's, Miranda, I'm not going to lie to you, your name is a name that's on my wall because you're in my pipeline.
Yeah.
And what you do when you have a business, you follow up with people who are in your pipeline. Your circumstances will show up and they will do this magical sort of, they'll play a magical Jedi mind trick on you that will get in the way of you following up with your prospects. And I follow up with my prospects until they say, Dave, I'm not interested, don't call me anymore. And I say, sorry, I apologize if I offended you. 9 times out of 10, I haven't offended them either. I actually just got done working with a guy for 6 months. His entire experience of being a human transformed. He went through a divorce while I was coaching with him, and then now he's engaged to the woman that he's going to spend the rest of his life with. And all I did was open the conversation up with him. My point in sharing this with you all is that he was the first person I reached out to when I started coach training in February of 2011. And here it is, August of 2017, and all I did was polite follow-ups. He never said to go away, so I didn't. And if he did, I respectfully would have. So that's kind of like bringing it. We take the spiritual. God wants us to be these amazing versions of ourselves. And then we have to bring it down to the practical, which is more mundane. This is a business. I have to do the work, and I don't want to, and I have a this and a that, and et cetera. And the challenge there is to then choose from what you're committed to and just follow a path of integrity, which is intentions, words, actions lined up. So is there anything any questions I can sort of answer with any of you wonderful people before we part ways?
A couple of you haven't spoken up yet. Now's your chance.
Okay. So I have a question. Miranda, I know you're waiting for me to say something,
Beautiful, Alexia. I love it when you share. So share.
right? So I am a military wife. I guess that kind of like takes precedence over who I am, right? So yeah, for 10 years, we've kind of been jumping around I'm from New York, moved to Texas, to South Carolina, to Colorado. Now I'm here in Louisiana. So it's kind of like this uh, rebuild of my life everywhere I go. So it's been like that for like 10 years. And that's where I kind of feel, I guess, like lost in where I am as a person. And I don't know if a lot of other people get that or are in the same place, So it's, and again, I think it all goes back to the circumstance and like making that excuse. um, so for me, it's more of sharing me and knowing who that really is, and that's where it kind of gets, it gets hard because it's like, well, who the hell am I anyway? Like I've been following my husband around and I'm like, now my kids are in school. So it's like, oh crap. Like now I'm me. And, sometimes you don't like what you see when you're looking in the mirror, and then you have to share this person. And then I don't know, it just kind of gets a little complicated.
It's and there's one of the, people are so similar in so many ways, and one of the recurring things that pops up with people all the time is perfectionism.
Right.
And people they won't take any action because they're afraid that if they take action and it's not perfect, that it will be taken the wrong way by other people who have a problem with perfection. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. And what I've noticed with every single person who has shared this evening is that there's just this beautiful honesty at the core and this beautiful authenticity at the core of each one of you. And that authenticity and that vulnerability is access to spiritual power. Because your job is to be no other person than who you are. And it doesn't mean that we aren't responsible for what we throw out on Facebook or whatever, or the way that we promote ourselves, but it doesn't mean that we sell out on our authenticities in service of being perfect. Is that clear?
Yeah.
And what I hear you sharing is that, there's this sort of, Alexia, is that there's this kind of quest for like, what is home? I don't really have a home. I don't know if I've ever had one. And because I don't have a home, I don't know who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that sharing that vulnerably is access to power. Now, there's a little bit of a gap in between, well, how do I share that and use that to my benefit in my business? And that's a slightly bigger conversation, but consider that we're kind of into a different dimension as far as generating results in your business go. Does that make sense?
Right. Because then my whole, like I have 28 people on this list right now that I connected with today at a spouse event, we had a vendor table. So most of these women are military wives like me. So I know they are in the same boat. Like they live down the block from me or across the street or whatever. So I know I can connect with them that way. I don't know. It's like, it's
right.
That rejection, like.
Right. And it comes right back to the first concept, being
right.
awkward.
Right.
And the more you go out and be awkward, the better you'll get, the more confident you'll get.
Right. So now I'm like overthinking, oh my gosh. So in the email, should I make a Google form and like put a link to it? And then like, oh my gosh, what should I say? And I'm like, I'm going to email my neighbor and make sure she reads through it and sees if it's okay. Like it's way overthinking just like a simple, hey, thanks for stopping by. Here's the free 5-day clean eating plan that I promised you, and just like being just simple and authentic,
That's it.
Yeah.
And you just shared you summed up a majority of your life. Like you've been moving around for a long time, and there are other people who you can relate to on that level. And from that place, that heart-to-heart connection, there's an opportunity.
Right.
And certain people are going to take it one way, and certain people are going to take it another way. and certain people are going to say, hey, I want to hear more about that.
So do you suggest, like with people, like a lot of these people I've never met, is it like a good idea to maybe put a short little paragraph about like who I am? Because they didn't really see that at the vendor table. They just saw a Beachbody coach.
Well, yeah. And so it's not really my job as a coach to necessarily advise so much as it is and to tell you what to do, but to help you come up with your own answers. And
Right.
It sounds like the answer that you've come up with is that's it, and you just don't trust it.
Yeah. Yep.
You get that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is my problem. Like, I don't trust myself enough, and I'm not confident enough in doing what I know I should do.
Yeah.
So,
Got it. Thanks for seeing that.
Thank you.
By the way, I want to actually, this work I do, this coaching stuff, it's pretty deep and it's pretty serious, and it's not for the faint of heart. And this entire group we coached on a very, very, very deep level. This was not coaching 101. This was like a very high version of what it is I do. And all I'm reflecting, I'm actually acknowledging all of you in your abilities and your capacities to grasp the depth of this work at the level that it's meant to be understood. So there's a collective brilliance to you guys as a team as well. And I'm inviting you, and I'm going to send you over a laundry list of things to take on. But you guys want to start getting in touch with that collective power, right? That collective brilliance, that collective spirituality, and kick the collective perfectionism and the collective, we're going to beat ourselves up because we didn't do a good job. Kick that out the door, because it's got no place at the table that you guys are sitting at. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Love it.
And it's your job to start calling each other out when you hear it. And relate to yourselves this is honestly, I've been on a lot of teams. You guys are an amazing team. You guys are an amazing team. The depth at which we engaged today, it's phenomenal. It's really truly an honor to be with all of you. I really want to thank you for everything.
We appreciate you, Dave.
Yeah.
It takes someone like you make people feel comfortable instantly because you're vulnerable too. And so that makes it safe for us to go there. So, you set the tone. You made everybody feel like they could share. So thank you for that.
And thank you for not getting mad the 20-something times I followed up with you.
You know what? I think that we both do the same type of work in that. And I do want to work with you fully one of these days. So I'm never going to tell you to quit messaging me. Okay. Ever.
Yeah, so I actually, do you mind if I just do a little pitch real quick?
Yeah,
Miranda?
Please do. Do.
Okay. So if each one of you wants to explore any of this stuff that we spoke about, individually, one-on-one with me at just greater depth as it relates personally just to you, I like to offer, complimentary consultations to all of you. It's no cost. It's no obligation. There's not a great big sales pitch at the end. I just kind of present it to you, and certain people say yes and certain people say no, and either way is perfectly fine. And then I'll also be, what we basically did tonight was referred to as a mastermind group. So I'm going to, I'll have two options. Some of you might want to work, get 3 or 4 of you together, and we put together some little groups, and we meet once a week. And then, there's also the individual options. And if you guys want to work with me individually, we cover everything. It's your entire life and in complete overhaul. But like I said, I'd like to just extend the invitations to you guys to connect with me one-on-one if you'd like. If not, that's fine too. And then I'll just kind of sort things out with Miranda, and we'll see if we can put some things together.
Absolutely. I can share a little testimonial. Dave has done a couple of calls with me, and I can honestly say the past 12 months have been some of the hardest personally of my life. I've gone through a lot of external hardships with the cancer diagnoses and things like that were very external, but the last year's been really tough. And the content that he has shared with me literally has given me the courage to take steps on things I need to handle. I have a special notebook of just the things he shared with me, and I constantly refer to it. So you guys take him up on this opportunity to do a consultation and really pray about it. Consider working with him in small groups or investing in doing the one-on-one coaching. I fully intend to do it as soon as God aligns things financially for me to be able to do that, and it is going to happen. I declare it. So please take him up on the opportunity to do a consultation. His heart aligns with our heart, and you'll feel it instantly. You'll feel like he's known you your whole life, and it's incredible the things he can pick out in how you're thinking that can really change things for you. And like we started off with at the beginning of the call, we have to change our being before our doing is going to get us anywhere. So you guys definitely reach out to him and set something up.
Great. So yeah, Miranda, can I count on you to get everybody's email address?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure thing.
And then I'll
shoot
just
it to you.
That would be awesome. And then what I'll do is I at the end of every call, I create a list of action items. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, but it'll be out to you guys by tomorrow morning. I'll send out a list of things for you as a team to take on. I used about 75 sticky notes during our call, so I have to kind of sort through all of it.
I love
This
it.
is the way I work. I'm an ADD person, so the way I work is I just scribble whatever, wherever, on whatever, and formulate it together. That's what's empowering for me, versus letting that circumstance get in the way of me doing moving my business forward. So thank you so much, all of you. Is there anything anyone else would like to say?
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
I know it's a God thing that I got on here tonight, because I struggle so much with the fact that I lost my mom at 19, and I feel like a lot of times I have not had the guidance in my life, and like I'm on a high, like when like Miranda and Katie, like last week or the week before, whatever, when they're pumping me up and telling me, you know, you can do this and these are your strengths and things like that. And you know what, I'm really good for like a week or so, and then when the first thing happens and I feel like I just lose it all, and then just like, you know, like the voice, I guess, of doubt creeps in my mind, and it's like I don't feel like I have my crap together, so how can I help anybody else get their crap together? But so you know, I've not had guidance. And I think that's one thing I love about this team, is because even though I'm older than some of these women, I feel like that connection, because it's like they're all a bunch of mamas to me, you know. So I will definitely take you up on that consultation.
Sounds good, April.
Yeah,
we will set them up for next week. So thank you all. I just want to again acknowledge you all collectively as a team for who you are for each other, and just for the world. You know, it's just, the world is in a really weird place right now, and it's just really good to know that there's this small group of people out there just being fundamentally good. So thank you to all of you. Miranda, you're an amazing and fascinating leader. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you for being on with us tonight. Yeah, let's wrap up, because it's 9:20 and 10:20 in our time zone.
Oh gosh, guys.
We wish we were in California.
California time, right?
No, we're good. This is when we do calls, because we're busy during the day. So this is what we do. Guys, thank you for being on tonight. I know I speak for the group in thanking you, Dave. Look forward to seeing what comes from this tonight. And so what I would ask of you guys is two things. Number one, let's all commit to one another to call each other out on our bullshit, okay? When we see one another holding back, being a perfectionist, letting circumstances make us chase our tails, we're going to call each other out, okay? Me included. You have permission from me to call me out on my crap if I can do the same for you. So let's do that together. Second thing, don't let tonight stay in tonight, okay? Look for the email that you're going to get from Dave. Reach out to him and set up that consultation he so graciously offered. Don't let what you've heard tonight, what you've experienced here, stay in tonight, okay? Deal? All right, guys, you know I love you. Go get some rest. And in the morning, first thing in the morning, I want you all to get up and say, I was sent to the planet too, and fill in the blank with what God is calling you to do and be. Okay? All right, guys. Y'all have an amazing
Rock on,
night.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks again. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.